Hello! It's gonna be a presentation about the 4 elements. I will give you many tools so you can explore it for yourself. And let's just get into it, alright? So, why 4 elements? Well, they are basically describing your nature as if it was split into 4. Because you can think of your nature to be split into 2, into male and female, and if you split it further, you get 4. So at first we have 1, which is whole. It's like your consciousness is fully integrated, and then you have your consciousness, your subconsciousness, which are polarities, but they have to work together. There is an alchemical marriage of sun and moon, and it basically means that at the highest point you want to reconcile even those two opposites to reach wholeness of the psyche. Okay, so we have to start at the beginning. Elements are basics. If you want to play with magic, understand yourself, they are fantastic for that. So what is fire? Fire is that which burns. So that is your drive, that is your will, that is this creative spark, this I know what I have to do, this inspiration. And before we move on, fire, masculine, air, masculine, earth, water, feminine. What I noticed is that if you look how the wand is being held and the sword, and you see that it's firmly gripped, that's like active, okay? Because masculine is active, feminine is passive, it's receptive. And look, here it is like a great gift given to someone. Here the same principle applies. So that's interesting because we can even see this feminine, masculine on the first 4 cards of the minor arcana, okay? Emotions. Those relate to water, creativity, relationships. Well, you said that creativity is here. That's a different type. Because when you have this spark, this inspiration, now it happens through you, not from you. Because a creative process comes more so from the subconscious mind than from your conscious mind. You just have to make a way so it can happen. Because every great poet always taps to something beyond him. Like, for example, you can imagine a cloud that is there somewhere, and if you want to write a masterpiece, you have to connect to that cloud. It's like attuning an antenna so that you can tap into a current and manifest something through you. It's like a river that flows through you, but you can't control the river. You can only let it flow. Okay? Air. It's interesting because in tarot most cards related to swords are very negative because they cause conflict. Why is that? Intellect and mind is what divides. Why is it doing that? Well, if you have an issue and it's this one big thing, then you need to really divide it into smaller pieces so you can address each one separately. So that's the nature of the intellect. That's why we have it. So we can solve complex problems by making them into less complex pieces. Okay? That's also ego. So that's interesting. So if air relates to the ego, mind, so that's like probably your thinking brain, that's Mercury. Okay? And earth? Well, that's wealth, body, health, security. That is like an anchor for your spirit. But your spirit comes from fire. This is this immortal fire that burns in you. And it's never distinguished. It always is there, but it has to connect through those 2 elements to earth to reach wholeness. Okay? We're gonna talk about how to connect spirit with earth later, but here, why will I try to describe 2s, 3s and 6 from the tarot? Well, I think they are amazing for showcasing the nature of each element, because 2 is father, 3 is mother, 6 is son, okay? So Two is like a masculine principle at play, in a way. Two, while three is mother, it's also in a way a child, while six is the son. So here you have father, mother, son, daughter, earth, because then relate to Malkuth, which is kingdom, which is your body, etc. Here is wisdom, understanding, and beauty, or as I like to say it, because I think that portrays the idea of the Sephira better, harmony. So here we have 2s, 3s and 6s. As you can see, when you have this fire, this spark, you say, okay, let me embark on a new journey. And that's what you do. You look around, you say, okay, I have this one firmly planted, I have this one for my journey, let me begin. And 3s, well, as you can see, it's a little bit harder for the 3, because he's already on the journey and he looks ahead and there is like a vast desert to traverse. So that's like a challenge that, well, I have this passion, what really drives me to do things, and you're basically saying, well, there's a long way ahead of me. 6s, so that's a harmony, and as you can see, he took his passion and now he's coming back victorious to bring back his gifts that he discovered along the way for others to enjoy, like Prometheus. 2s treat about relationships and emotions. So here is a harmonious relationship that might be like falling in love, something like that. 3s is like celebrating, but not a romantic relationship, but more so a type of friendship, because this is like not quite balanced, one cup is higher. And 6s is one of my favorite cards in the tarot, because they basically speak about bringing back purity to other person. As you can see, there is white lily, and white lily relate to purity, that purity which we had as childs and we lost as, well, you gotta live your life and life stuff, right? 2s, swords. Ooh, that's interesting. I don't like this card. Well, I like it actually. So 2s is that basically to gain serenity of your mind, you need to rest your swords. That's a big theme of swords, that it's either conflict or it's either putting them at rest so that you can have peace. And here, peace is achieved by holding your swords in a way that doesn't allow for anything to be destroyed but them. And 3s are very interesting, because if intellect is causing most of the troubles in our life, that's anxiety, for example, that's like what pierces our heart and makes it cry. But the solution for this card is faith, because Bina on the Tree of Life is the place from which faith originates. This is black, so as you can imagine, it's not necessarily a easy Sephira to reconcile inside of you, but from the suffering that is brought by this thingy, you gain understanding. And to go through trials, what you need is faith, because intellect will see problems and it will be like, oh fuck, I can't do it. Yes, you can, but that's the act of faith, the belief that you can do it. 6s, it's putting your swords at rest and saying, well, maybe there is another ground for me to discover. Maybe it's not everything that is for this reality, for my life. Maybe if I just let my mind rest and I take care of what needs to be taken care of, I will discover more truths about me. 2s. These are very interesting, because in order to have balance, this infinite energy, let's say, from your body, you need to actually take care of few elements. For example, sleep, diet, exercise. If something gets off from this trinity, then, well, it's not a good sign, because if you don't sleep well, it's gonna be harder to exercise, it's gonna be harder to stick to the diet. If you don't stick to the diet, you won't grow if you're going to the gym, etc. So it's about finding balance within the realm of matter. Threes are about cooperation, about building something together, because really one of the most powerful forces inside of this reality is cooperation. If you can build a project with other people, that's what's gonna be successful. You can go there and be a lone wolf, but you're gonna hit a wall at a certain point. So there needs to be inside of your reality, of what you're trying to build, what you're trying to manifest, a certain amount of cooperation. Nature works that way. Nature is not about I survive, you die. Nature is about let me help you so you can help me so we can grow together. Sixes. Well, that's charity, and I think it's beautiful because he gives to the people that needs it. Why doesn't he give to that guy that is also asking for it? Because there is this red thingy, red piece of paper, red piece of cloth. And as you can see, he also has this red piece of cloth. Why is that? Because red represents royalty. And if you are a royalty, giving back to the people in need is something required, honestly, for this reality to function. But if you have money and you're asking for money, you're a fraud. So that's why there are two and there are three. Because he won't get that what he desires, because he's a liar and a fraud. Okay, another thing that I think is very interesting in regards to the elements is that if you multiply 4 elements by 3, you get 12 zodiacal signs. You get mutable, fixed, and cardinal. So you get 3 expressions of each element, and each sign, if you understand them, speaks about the nature of the element, either in the mutable, fixed, or cardinal form. Solar and lunar, male and female. I love this image. I think this image is incredible because, as you can see, that's feminine, and that's moon, that's subconscious mind, that is the vast ocean of your being, and here is masculine. It's white and it's solar. So that's action. That's your conscious mind. That's the observer. That's the observed. Another thing, there is the 5th element. What the fuck? I thought there were only 4. So this is kind of an element, because really all of the other elements originate from spirit or from ether. So the astral realm is from more subtle element than what 4 elements we find here on Earth. And pentagram in this example is really a human extending his hands and extending his feet to be a star, as Crowley said. That's what I meant by father, mother, son, daughter. It's actually the holy name, the tetragrammaton. It's Yod Hei Vav Hei, and it's also fire, water, air, earth. So that's also way this correlates, and these are very interesting because, as you can see, it's masculine, active, but less subtle, more gross. Same principle here. Feminine, subtle, less subtle. Okay? Here we have chakras. Chakras also have elements, but as you can see, there are 7 elements. Well, I don't really buy into that necessarily, because I think that that could be described as light and that could be described as void. If we could look at the Kabbalah for a brief moment, before Keter, above Keter, sorry, there are 3 veils of unmanifested being: Ein, Ein Sof, Or, and they mean that Ein is not or no thing, so that would be void here, and Ein Sof Or is limitless light, so that would be this element, and here is ether. So those 2 are not really elements, they are like principalities that govern this realm, and those are the real elements, let's say, that like we can perceive. Ether is very subtle, it's like a web on which everything is built. Okay. Root chakra is to the earth, and here is water, and here is fire, and here is air. That's interesting. You told me that first is fire, then is air. Well, those are just attributions so that we can understand the nature of the chakras, because not everything, even here on the Tree of Life, would make sense if you would just go by the elements, because here is fire, 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 water, 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 air, 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 earth. So first element is air again. Well, I'll just leave this for you, so you can meditate on that and gain insight. Why is that? Why is that? I'm gonna do more videos on Kabbalah, because that's the main thing that I love and I study. I think it's a great map of you and of the cosmos. But what I wanted to speak about in regards to chakras is how you can manifest through them, okay? So, through the crown, we either gain an idea that is like you have your vision in the sky and you take action on the earth to manifest. So, if you were just taking action, you wouldn't really know where you're heading. And if you just had a vision, it would be like a vague dream that you can't really grasp. But if you combine work on earth with vision in the skies, everything flows and everything is possible, because you can do anything you want. Man, I won't say that word. Okay, so if you plant a seed in the root, in the earth, then next thing is you gotta water the plant. You gotta bring emotions that will be strengthening the seed, that won't be like a toxic water and contaminated water, but it will be a pure water, like good emotions, good vibrations, however that sounds, whatever, you know what I mean. Fire, here, action, so that's action, but that's like willing, that's what drives you. That's like solar plexus is a lot about authenticity and willing your reality into existence, okay? So that's where your will is from chakras, and that's basically what allows you to take action on earth, so that you have a seed and now it needs heat, and heat is the action, heat is what drives you, that's the spark, that creative spark that allows you to take action, okay? Heart, here we have air, and I think a lot about it as compassion, that you look at the seed and you understand that it has to grow, that it needs time, that it won't bloom overnight, that is like a patience and at the same time love for it, because you need to actually want the thing that you're trying to manifest it, because if you were trying to do something that is not really for you, then that's a problem, because you're creating a reality that you don't want to live. So the intention has to come from the heart, has to come from loving a thing you're trying to bring into your reality. Ether would be emo, about being able to hear what is required and being able to speak what is that you're trying to manifest. So for example, you might say, I am a millionaire. That's speech, that's the throat, that's like you're creating vibrations with your mouth that then like influence your subconscious mind and then bring you desired reality. Ajna, that would be clear vision, that would be discernment that you need on the journey, so that you can see, what does my seed need? Okay, what does it need? I see that. I can deduce by the act of intellect and through other do the manifesting. Crown would be the inspiration, would be download from the cosmos so that you know what the fuck you want, okay? There we go, that's a cool, that's very so that's very cool, I love it, because that's a very simple thing that you can do right now in order to work with the fire element. What I mean by that is I recommend you to do an exercise where you write down, where you draw on a piece of paper a certain psychological complex that is haunting you, that you might call it a demon, whatever. And when you have that, when you look at that, you don't judge it, you just look for what it is, what your mind came from. You don't have to be good at drawing. I am drawing terribly. It's ugly. If I showed you anything that I drew, it's fucking ugly. But if you just drew a certain complex that is haunting you, that you discovered, and like you don't know what to do, you can purify that by fire. So you take the piece of paper with the drawing and you simply look at it for what it is, and then you burn it and it goes away, it gets purified. This way you can loosen the chains that are on you, so you can be more free, and this thing can no longer haunt you. This is very interesting because those are also 4 elements. That would be fire, water, earth. And those are choleric, sanguinic, melancholic and phlegmatics. Those are 4 temperaments from psychology. And if you were studying how the 4 elements manifest, you would understand very well why is that. What is that calm? Well, because earth is about security, earth is about anchoring. So that's like reliable, diplomatic, all of that makes sense when you understand the nature of 4 elements. But it requires from you that you think about them, see them, observe them in nature, and observe them with your mind's eye, okay? And if you do all that, it all becomes obvious why air is sociable or impulsive, because air blows, right? But I would like you to think about air more as when you burn something, that's what comes, that's the smoke that comes, that's air or vapor from combining fire and water. Yeah, so thank you for listening. If you'd like to buy a reading, check the description, or if you need guidance, just DM me. I'm willing to help out lost souls for free, to just help you on your path of self-discovery. I did not have someone for a very long time that I could talk to, so as long as my channel is not too big, I'm willing to help you guys out for free. My Twitter and Telegram will be in the description, so you can DM me, we can even schedule a call, whatever. And yeah, that's it. Study Kabbalah, bro. Study Kabbalah. It's an amazing glyph. It really like increased my understanding of this reality manifolds. It's fantastic. Bye bye.